Welcome back to Bad Things in History, where sometimes a girl's gotta eat. Why do some people feel the need to kill? Are they born with a burning desire to end the lives of their fellow humans? Or is it something they were taught? Or could it be that some people are evil? Although most of those who kill are men, sometimes women can be equally vicious. In this episode, we are going to tell you the story of a woman from Australia who decided to kill her lover. Then she cooked him and tried to feed him to his own children. Early life. Katherine Mary Knight was born in Tenterfield, Australia on October 24, 1955. She also had a twin sister. By the time the pair arrived, their family was already in a state of complete chaos. Katherine's mother, Barbara, was married when she became pregnant with the twins. She already had 4 children with her first husband. But then she began having an affair with her husband's friend and co-worker, Ken Knight. He was the father of Katherine and her sister. The adulterous affair caused such an uproar in the small town of Tenterfield that Barbara and Ken had to move. They relocated to the town of Moray, where nobody knew about their scandalous affair. The couple had 2 more children, but life in their home was generally miserable and violent. Ken Knight was an alcoholic. When he was drunk, he was very demanding and physically intimidating. He would force Barbara to have sex with him, in some cases up to 10 times per day. Barbara dealt with the abuse by sharing the details of it with her children, including Katherine. Katherine was a model student at school when she first started. The good behavior didn't last long. Her temper and tendency to commit violent acts could not be contained. She became known for being a bully. Most of the time, she threatened children smaller than her. Her rage could be unleashed on older people, too. One day, Katherine started beating up a boy who insulted her. On another occasion, she was physically assaulted and injured by one of her teachers. It was later determined that the teacher acted in self-defense. Katherine left high school at the age of 15 in late 1969. She didn't know how to read or write, but she was good with knives. Eventually, this helped her get a job as a cutter in a clothing factory. A year later, she would have a chance to make one of her dreams come true. In 1970, she was hired at the nearby slaughterhouse. First marriage. Katherine was proud of her job at the slaughterhouse. She also liked to store her knives by hanging them above the bed. She claimed it was in case they were needed one day. In addition to finding joy in butchering animals, Katherine occasionally enjoyed male companionship. In 1973, she met David Stanford Kellett, who also worked at the slaughterhouse. David consumed large amounts of alcohol as often as possible. Most of the time, he was simply trying to forget 2 traumatic events from his previous job. David worked for the railroad before being hired at the slaughterhouse. One day, his friend was hit by a train and killed. On another occasion, David came across a school bus that had been hit by a train. He saved some of the children, but the rest died before he could get to them. After that, his job performance deteriorated. Then his behavior became a problem too. The railroad finally fired David. He moved on, finding his way to the slaughterhouse and eventually Katherine. After dating for several months, David and Katherine were married in 1974. Right before the ceremony, Katherine's mother tried to warn David that he was in danger. She told him that if he ever made Katherine mad, his new wife wouldn't hesitate to kill him. Later that night, after the marriage was consummated, Katherine tried to strangle David to death. She said it was because he only had sex with her 3 times before falling asleep. One night, David came home late. He had been playing in a darts competition and made it to the final round, but Katherine didn't care. When he walked in the door, she hit David in the head with a frying pan. He had to go to the hospital where he was treated for a fractured skull. In May 1976, Katherine had just given birth. The stress of the new child combined with physical abuse finally broke David. He left Katherine and began living with another woman. Katherine didn't take rejection well. She took her baby to the train tracks and left it there to die. A homeless man saw the little girl right before the train arrived and saved her. 2 days later, Katherine used a knife to slash a woman's face. Katherine wanted the bleeding woman to drive her to where David was. The victim got away and called the police. By the time the authorities arrived, Katherine was holding a little boy hostage with her knife. They used brooms to disarm her, then placed her under arrest. Katherine remained in a psychiatric hospital until August 9, 1976. After her release, she moved to Ipswich, but her marriage to David somehow was still not over. They had another child on March 6, 1983. By 1984, Katherine was finally ready to move on. She left David and moved to Aberdeen. Soon she found new men to terrorize. Moving on. In 1986, Katherine met the next man who would share her life and became the target of her rage. His name was David Saunders. He made a living in the nearby mines. A few months after starting the relationship, David moved in with Katherine and her daughters, but the good times didn't last long. Katherine was insanely jealous and thought David was cheating on her. In May 1987, she took David Saunders' 2-month-old puppy, held it in front of him, and cut its throat. She did it to show him what would happen if he ever cheated on her. After making sure he understood the message, she knocked him unconscious with a frying pan. In June 1988, the couple had a baby together, but it didn't make Katherine less violent. One night, she had an argument with David. Katherine didn't like what he had to say, so she hit him in the face with an iron. Then she stabbed him in the abdomen with a pair of scissors. After surviving the attack, David went into hiding. In 1995, Katherine moved in with John Price. Like her previous lover, he also earned a living from working in the mines. John lived with 2 of his children, which were from a previous marriage. For the first few years, Katherine and John seemed to have a happy relationship. John's children also really liked Katherine. It was the most stable relationship she had ever experienced, but it wouldn't last long. In February 2000, the couple started arguing. Katherine became enraged and stabbed John in the chest. He survived and kicked Katherine out of the house. On February 29th, John Price took out a restraining order against Katherine. Then he told his co-workers that if he didn't come to work the next day, it's because she killed him. They begged him not to go home, but he was worried about the children. John went home that evening and found that the house was empty. Katherine had sent the children to a friend's house, then left as well. John, exhausted, finally went to bed. Later that night, Katherine let herself into the house. The murder. The next morning, on March 1st, 2000, John's next-door neighbors became concerned. They noticed that he didn't leave for work at the usual time. They called John's employer and somebody was sent to check on him. The coworker saw blood on the front door of the house and called the police. The police arrived and entered through the front door. As soon as they stepped into the house, the officers were faced with a horrible sight. They saw something hanging from a doorway and thought it was a blanket. But as they got closer, the officers realized it was much worse than that. Katherine had removed John's skin and left it hanging from a hook. As they continued moving through the house, the smell of cooking food permeated the air. They went into the kitchen and yet another nightmare was revealed. John's head was in a pot full of boiling vegetables. Next, they noticed the kitchen table. Katherine had butchered and cooked other parts of John's body. She had set 3 plates at the table, each with a serving of John's corpse. And beneath each plate was a note that had the name of each of John's children. She clearly planned to make John's children eat him. They also found another piece of meat in the backyard. The authorities thought that Katherine tried to eat a piece of John but couldn't get it down, so she threw the remains into the yard and left them there. As they continued moving through the house, the officers heard loud snoring. They entered the bedroom and found Katherine lying fully clothed on the bed asleep. They woke her, then took her to prison. Punishment. After being charged with murder, Katherine tried to reduce the severity of her sentence. At first, she offered to plead guilty to manslaughter, but the court refused. As far as authorities were concerned, she was a cold-blooded murderer who didn't deserve mercy. As the court began finding a jury to hear the case, they had another problem. The evidence was so gruesome that many potential jurors refused to view the evidence. Fortunately, they wouldn't have to worry about it. Katherine changed her mind and pled guilty to murder. Her lawyers asked for psychiatrists to perform an examination. Although Katherine was guilty, they wanted to reduce the punishment by claiming she had amnesia. She didn't remember what happened because consciously she wasn't really there. After examining Katherine, the doctors concluded that she understood exactly what she was doing while carving John Price into meaty morsels. On November 8, 2001, Justice Barry O'Keefe delivered the final judgment. He sentenced Katherine to life in prison without the possibility of parole. While rendering the decision, he offered the following opinion. "I'm satisfied beyond any doubt that such a murder was premeditated. I am further satisfied in the same way that not only did she plan the murder, but she also enjoyed the horrific acts which followed in its wake as part of a ritual of death and defilement. As I have said, the prisoner showed no mercy whatsoever to Mr. Price. The last minutes of his life must have been a time of abject terror for him, as they were a time of utter enjoyment for her. At no time did the prisoner express any regret for what she had done or any remorse for having done it, not even through the surrogacy of counsel. Her attitude in that regard is consistent with her general approach to the many acts of violence which she has engaged in against her various partners. The only appropriate penalty for the prisoner is life imprisonment, and that parole should never be considered for her." In June 2006, Katherine appealed the life sentence, hoping she could one day be released from prison. The panel that reviewed her case decided she was where she needed to be. In the final decision, the judges said, "This was an appalling crime, almost beyond contemplation in a civilized society. Katherine Knight is still in prison, where she will remain until the end of her life." Was Katherine's behavior the result of childhood trauma, or was she just an evil person? Let us know what you think about this strange and horrible part of Australian history. And if you know of any other deranged killers we need to cover, share that as well. If you enjoyed this episode, please like the video. It helps make sure that other people see it too. If you really like our channel, be aware we have a Patreon also. We are grateful for any support our viewers provide. Thank you for watching Bad Things in History.